Simply Fujica, a place for budding and aspiring entrepreneurs. Guys, I want to welcome you to another week here at the channel. And if you are new to this channel, I want to thank you for stopping on by. Today, I have a good video for you. And what we're talking about today is how do you choose your anticipated service area? Now, this is important because remember, guys, based on your research that you have done, you're really going to be able to drill down into who actually needs your services. So if that is something that you're interested in, and I hope it is, then stay tuned. So the first tip that I have for you is opportunity. So by now you should have done your business plan, and if not, I can help you with that. I've actually done a video on how to create a business plan, and so I will make sure that is in the video description for your review. But after you do your business plan, you really hopefully have spent some time really defining who that customer is for you. And included in that is the service area, your anticipated service area. Because when you're doing your research, you're understanding how old your customer is, what is their median income, and specific to this first tip, where are they? And so based on that, you really can make sure you market your services to those areas. So you want to make sure that you're capturing your ideal customer in that ideal location. The second tip that I have for you are your resources. So typically you want to set up what is the ideal mileage that you want that person driving, right? Because remember, anything over 20, maybe 30 minutes, people are not going to want to drive that way every day, right? So you kind of want to keep that in mind. When you're putting together your recruiting plan, where are your resources going to be located? So eventually too, what you want to think about is really phasing this approach out. Because if you're initially starting lean, and I know some of you start off actually doing the care yourselves, you want to make sure that you're not accepting a client that you're not able to fully service. So remember, you may have a caretaker that cannot come in. You may have a caretaker that actually went through the hiring process but never shows up and you don't hear from them again. You may have one on their way to work and their tires blow out on the freeway, right? So you just want to make sure that you have someone that can back up whoever is assigned as a primary caretaker for your client. So you want to make sure that there's never an incident where you fall through in terms of level of care. So then what does that phase 2 look like? Well, as you start growing, right, in client size, as you feel comfortable expanding that service area, then your recruiting should be ahead of that. So in other words, you don't want to be responding to, oh shoot, I have a client, who's going to take care of this person? You really should already have that mapped out, if you will. And actually, go ahead and put in the comments, if you want to do a mapping session on your recruiting efforts, let me know. Indicate that in the comments, and I'll go ahead and put that video together. But again, what I said is really important here. You want to make sure that your recruiting efforts is actually ahead of the clients that you get, because you want to make sure that, again, you're not overselling your services and then not able to deliver as a result of that. Because remember, I've said this several times, this business is a word of mouth business, and you don't want people saying, hey, this person was not ready for me when I was ready for services. So the third tip I kind of already talked about, which is your expansion plan. So I know some of you are going to be operating from home. For those of you who are operating from home, you really want to start thinking of how can I hold these interviews? Because to me, and this is just my opinion, an initial interview, a screening interview, even maybe just a first interview can be done virtually, right? It can be done over the phone. It can be done through Zoom. I know a lot of these job boards have that as a product where you can do screening interviews through their service. However, for me, that final interview, I really would like to have that done in person, because there's just some things you miss out if you actually don't meet a person, if you don't actually shake them, shake their hands, if you don't actually look them in the eye. So I really think that it's such a good idea to have your final interviews in person. So if you're working from home, you really have to consider, okay, so where am I going to be doing that interviewing? I have shared with you a lot of times that I actually do have an office with Regis. What I like about them is even if I need to meet a client outside of my home office, then you just book a room from that Regis. So you have the network as a resource to you. So if you don't have that, you just kind of want to think ahead of time. Hey, if I'm in Southern California and I want to go a couple of cities over to start hiring, where are you going to be doing that hiring? That should be included in your expansion plan. The second thing you want to start of is location. There's so many of you when I'm putting together your training plans, when I'm doing those type of things for you, it's so nice to see what cities you're actually going to be covering within your counties. I love that. That should be included in your expansion plan. There may be certain cities that you're not going to service. There might be some city lines that you're not going to be able to get to or cross, for your preferences. And so what does that look like? Have you plotted that out? As you expand, what's the time frame of that? Based on the time frame, how many people will you need to now service your clientele? These are questions you want to ask yourself, and you want to make sure you give yourself a fair shot to answer them. You may not have all the answers right away, right? But you want to at least make sure you're thinking through these items as they come across. Now, I do get this question a lot, so I'm going to throw this in as a bonus. A lot of you ask me the question, well, I really don't have anything for that person to do, so what does that look like? Well, it looks like this. You don't want to typically do any training, orientation, things of that nature until they're actually hired. And the reason why I say that is because training is a paid activity, right? And so anything you have them doing outside of the recruiting process needs to be paid for. So you want to keep that in mind. But when I was hiring my home care aides, what I was telling them, hey, is I'm a new business. I'm just starting up. I'm just staffing up. So as I get clients, I have someone there in the pipeline that will be willing and ready to go. And so everyone that interviewed with me understood that. And so you just want to make sure you're upfront and honest with that expectation. Because if this person is looking for now and they're looking for an income now, they may not want to sign up with your agency if you were just starting up or you're in your initial phases of expansion. So I hope that makes sense. The second piece of that is as you have these people on your pipeline and as your pipeline expands, you want to make sure that you are maybe once a week, once every couple of weeks, you either put together a standard email, text message, maybe you're calling people just to give them an update. Because if a person doesn't hear from you a week, 2 weeks, they're on to the next. So you don't want all of your work to get them hired for your agency to go in vain. So you just really want to make sure that you're in communication and you're letting them know where you are and then update timelines if it's appropriate. Okay, guys, that's all I have for you. I just get this question quite a bit, so I just wanted to make sure that I actually did a video on it. I do want to remind you that I'm doing a webinar this upcoming Saturday, which is June 24th, and it's called The Power of Purpose. So we're going to switch it up a little bit and do something a little bit more on the spiritual side. So if you're interested, the link is in the video description. This is something that is free. I really just want to have a conversation with you all and really just get some conversations going on the purpose and why we're actually here. Okay, so if you haven't already, make sure that you like the video. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that bell notification so that you're notified every time I release a new video. Okay, guys, that's all I have for you today. Stay blessed. Let me ask you a question. Do you have a passion for caring for others and you're trying to figure out how to turn that passion into a business? Well, I have the course just for you. My name is Fujica and I am just launching Fujica's Home Care Academy. I want you to join me in Sacramento this upcoming October, where I teach you how to actually get your license in the state of California, as well as operating your non-medical home care agency as a profitable business. Go ahead and look out for the link in the video description below. And if you have any questions, reach out to me. I hope to see you soon.